everyone, I am here with your astrology for the month of July. I know I'm a little bit late. I try to do this like within the first couple of days of the month, but here I am. I'm doing it now. So for the month of July, it's an interesting month. It's kind of a month that started off very volatile, and then it kind of gets better as the month goes on. There are, we do have obviously personal planets changing signs like Mercury, Venus is changing signs. The sun always changes sign every month. We have a new moon and full moon as we always do. And then we have one of the big planets, Jupiter, that is going retrograde back into Aquarius. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to go through everything kind of in order, and we'll talk about all of the changes that are coming up in the month of July so you can kind of plan your month. So first off, we started the last week with a pretty volatile couple of aspects that you may have felt in your own life or seen in the news. So we had on July 1st, we had Mars, who is in Leo right now, opposing Saturn in Aquarius, and we had him squaring Uranus in Taurus. And so Mars is all about like action and energy. He's all about change. He's also about violence and fire, though, as well, and accidents, explosions. Like, think of anything fiery, that's Mars. So we have that in Leo, and especially, when he's in a fire sign like Leo, that kind of amps up that fiery energy. And we're certainly seeing that. We're seeing lots of fires in the news. There was the big fire in the Gulf of Mexico. There's also, here in Canada, we have lots of fires going on. Out in BC, we've had like a giant heat wave going on. This is very Mars and Leo. And he's been opposite Saturn, which is about rules, regulations, structures. And here in Canada, we saw angry people tearing down statues, like a very literal, on that day, translation of Mars opposing Saturn. And then on July 3rd, we had Mars squaring Uranus. So that is the tension about wanting to change things, wanting things to be different. It can be an explosive aspect, but it is very much about the desire for change in things. So that started the month off with a lot of sort of like very tense, fiery energy. And then right behind it, we have Venus, who is also in Leo, making those same aspects. So that's kind of like Mars is like tear everything down, change everything. And then Venus comes along shortly after saying, how do we make this more beautiful? And how do we move forward with this? So we have on Tuesday, July 6th, which is the day I'm going to put this up, we have Venus opposing Saturn. So we have Venus now. She comes along and she wants to make everything beautiful. She's in Leo. She's very much like a performer and a showman and somebody who likes the spotlight. And she's saying, hey, like, what can we do to make these better? How can we make these changes lasting and beautiful in our lives? And then she squares Uranus on Thursday, July 8th. So again, let's make beautiful change. It's also about like unusual people making change, or people that are very different, that stand out, making change in the world. So it's kind of like we start off with all this tension, and then there's this energy coming in to make things better, or to say, how do we want to follow this up? So that's going on in the week of this particular week. We also have a really nice new moon coming up at 18 degrees of Cancer on Friday, July 9th. And new moons are a time for setting intentions, setting goals. And this one also has that Uranus energy of change because it's sextiling Uranus. And sextiles are nice aspects. So really this new moon is saying, okay, you have all these ideas for change. Let's put it into action. Let's set some intentions. Let's move forward with this. So it's a very optimistic and inspiring new moon. We're out of eclipse season, so what that means is it's a regular new moon where you can, set some intentions to make some changes in your life, but it's a very optimistic one. So really nice new moon that's going on Friday, July 9th. So take advantage of that. You can set your intentions in the days after the new moon. You've got up to the quarter moon, so about a week to set those intentions, but take advantage of that really positive energy to, set some intentions for change in your life at that time. Sunday, July 11th, we have Mercury changing into the sign of Cancer. So Mercury's been in his home sign of Gemini for a while. So he went forward, stopped, went retrograde almost away to the beginning, and then went forward again. So he spent quite a bit of time in Gemini, and now he's going to be moving into Cancer. So when he's in Gemini, he's very happy there because Gemini is about communication and ideas and facts, and he loves to communicate and talk about all sorts of things. Well, here we have, this is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun for anyone who's wondering. We have Mercury in Gemini as excitement, which I would agree with as a keyword. Definitely it's a very excitable, chatty type energy. And then we have Mercury in the sign of Cancer as intuition, which I would completely agree with. So it's more about communicating our feelings. And so for the next few weeks, it's going to be talking about how we feel about things, talking about our emotions, talking about our imagination, our ideas. People might be a little more introverted, not so extroverted in the way that they're talking about things. So it definitely shifts the energy of how we communicate with each other. Wednesday, July 21st, we have Venus moving into the sign of Virgo. So when she's in Leo, she's like flashy, give me all the bling, all the gold. She's like, look at me, I'm a performer. We want to be noticed. Venus is about beauty and it's about art. And we want to be out there, we want to be noticed. We don't care if it's garish, we're out there. But when she goes into Virgo, she's more reserved, more classic, more wanting to, kind of not be so much of a show off, but definitely keeping it classy when she's in Virgo. So Venus in, let's see here, finding my cards here. Venus in Leo, they've put as affair, and definitely Leo wants to be adored when it comes to romance. So very much, I agree with that. And then in Virgo, it says discrimination. That's not a great word, but it's not discrimination as in like prejudice. It's discrimination as it's more discerning. She's not so garish. She's very discerning about what kind of person is in her life, what kind of romantic partner she has. She's very discerning about her art. So it's kind of this energy of like, okay, we've put ourselves out there. Now, what is it that we don't want? And what is it that we do want? So there's this sense more of like discerning what we want in our lives, what is beautiful, what is meaningful to us. Thursday, July 22nd, the sun goes into Leo, as it always does at that time of year. So we go from sun in Cancer, where the focus has been on, the home and nurturing and family and caring and our imagination. It goes to the outer world and performing. And it also is a creative sign too, but instead of being like more in the studio working on things, this is the creativity that wants to be on stage. So sun in Cancer, just looking for my sun cards here. Aha, here we go. It says resourcefulness. And I would agree with that to a certain extent, because Cancer is resourceful and sun in Leo is fortune. Because this is the sun's home sign, Leo. So it's very sort of like lucky, very generous, very optimistic type of sign. So there's definitely a sense of optimism at this time. We then have a full moon in Aquarius on Friday, July 23rd. Now this full moon is opposite Mercury and sextiling Neptune. So, full moons are a time of balance. So it's balancing the sun, which is Leo, which is all about like creativity and fun, with what's good for the collective. And so we have to kind of make a balance between those things at the full moon. Look also at your Leo house and your Aquarius house to see what two things might need to be balanced out in your own life. It's opposite to Mercury. So we may find that we are struggling to express how we feel at that time, or we may blurt something out to somebody because full moon, the energy tends to run high. But there is a lot of creative opportunity in this particular full moon because of the sextile with Neptune. So there's opportunity for spiritual development and growth and creativity at this time. Tuesday, July 27th, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo. So he goes from Cancer, where he's been, kind of talking about his feelings, maybe being a little quieter about it, a little more introspective. And now he's out there telling you what he thinks and putting his foot in his mouth, as we Leos do sometimes. So Mercury in Cancer, again, is intuition. When he goes into Leo, it's about drama. Yes, it's about drama. It's about making dramatic statements. It's about telling people how they feel. Not so introverted anymore. So a lot of feisty, type of stuff going on. Also entertaining though too. Wednesday, July 28th. This is when Jupiter moves back into Aquarius. So he moved into Aquarius on December 21st. He joined up with Saturn, went into Aquarius, and then he's gone into Pisces briefly. He went briefly in May, June, and then up until this date, the end of July here. So he's moving retrograde back into Aquarius, and he won't go back into Pisces until the end of December. So we're going back into Aquarius, and Aquarius, Saturn's in Aquarius right now, which is all about the rules and boundaries around collective good, social constructs, social media. How, as a group, what kind of rules do we want to have? Now, Jupiter's moving back, and so what that may mean is some of the opening up, because Jupiter is about expansion and opening and making things bigger, may have to be walked back. And so he's going into Aquarius where he's like, you know what, we're going to have to revisit some of these rules. We're going to have to revisit some of these structures. What is the best thing we can do for the collective good? So he's walking back into Aquarius because he's got some things to revisit and redo before he goes forward into Pisces again. So Jupiter, I'm just looking for Jupiter here. Jupiter in Pisces. Just looking, here we go. Jupiter in Pisces, interesting, they have seduction here. It's kind of an interesting one. Jupiter in Pisces, he's at home in Pisces. It's one of his home signs. And it's very much about expanding our sense of possibility, spirituality, artisticness in the world. When he goes into Aquarius, though, it says innovation. So it's about how do we make positive changes? How do we innovate? How do we make things better for the collective? What do we do for the common good of all? And so we're going to have to relook at that at the end of July and into August. And as we kind of go through to the end part of the year, what structures do we want moving forward with things? So you may not feel that a lot in your own life. Again, look at your Pisces and Aquarius houses to know where some of those changes are happening. You might see it more in the outside world, though. And then on Thursday, July 29th, we have Mars moving into sign of Virgo. So he'll be in Leo for the vast majority of the month, where he's fiery, he's intense, he was pushed through, he wants to get things done. He can be a bit of a bully sometimes, but he's going into Virgo. And that's like, the energy tones down a bit, but it does tend to be very critical. Mars in Virgo tends to be quite critical and nitpicky about things. So Mars in Leo here, we have egotism, and we have like a rooster here, which I think is a very funny picture of Mars in Leo and very apt. Like he's got a lot of things to crow about, that's for sure. And then in Virgo, it's interesting, it says criticism. Yeah, Mars in Virgo, it's very, very critical. Sometimes that comes out as being critical of others, and sometimes that's about being self-critical. But that energy is definitely there. So overall this month, it's really asking us, like, what do we need to change? And how can we make that change long-lasting? How can we make it beautiful? What are we inspired by? And how do we make those structural changes moving forward for the long term? So that's what I'm seeing for this month. What are your thoughts about it? Were you affected by the whole Mars, Saturn, Uranus thing? Let me know. I would love to hear your feedback. And as always, peace and love and